Wi-Fi. All right, what's up, dudes? Everything is fixed.
Fellas,
Celtics are back.
Celtics are back.
We got
Everything's
Jimmy. We got
awesome.
Josue.
I sense
Yep.
sarcasm.
No, it's good. No problems at all. Bobby Manning is
Triple-double for Jaylen Brown. He's now
double for
untouchable
Jaylen
again.
Brown. The Celtics pass now.
This doesn't mean this.
Rip up your trade. Rip
yeah.
up your trade, Jalen articles.
Rip
Celtics
them up.
are back.
Exactly. That
Rip 'em
talk
up.
is it's still gonna linger.
26 assists and we're up and running.
Good to go.
You're good.
Marcus haters are really
That's
quiet.
it.
Though.
I'll do the sponsor reads and then we're gonna wrap it.
Com.com. Everyone's
yep.
already com. We don't even need them tonight. They
Yeah.
can take. They can use their sponsorship on another. Okay, we'll go with
com.com/garden. Yep. Sleep and meditation app. 40% off.
40% off. I'm gonna sleep well tonight.
Maybe the Celtics players signed up. You never know.
Celtics tonight.
There you go,
Celtics. It looked like they all had a little com.com action before the game.
Right.
I'm not going to say that they were brought to you by com.com because that would be false advertisement. But it does feel like there was an effect.
Not saying that.
It does feel like there was an effect.
And also LinkedIn, go post your first job for free. Go ahead and do it. 770 million people can't be wrong, right, Josue? LinkedIn.com/garden. Post your first
job. You don't even need to have a job to post a job.
Yeah.
Think about that.
So that's it.
I bet you a lot more people on Facebook, though, but just saying.
Everybody is psyched tonight, right? We needed this. We couldn't deal with another. You know what? It's we had to get all of that stuff off our chest after the last game. It's why Jimmy and I literally leapt off our respective couches when that shot went in.
It's also why
we needed that loss because you have.
We had like an after show too. Remember?
It was at a boiling point, and we needed it to boil over.
But it was straight up like we need to burn this village in order to save it sort of situation. So like you do have to hit rock bottom. Even though they seem to have hit it a few times. Because you know what? Ime needs rock bottom to be able to say to the guys, like, so can we now do the thing I want to do? So like you could tell early, even though shots weren't falling, they came out and they were whipping the ball around the perimeter, right? They weren't like, it wasn't great.
It wasn't fake. It wasn't like a fake lead that they were taking. Like they were earning it. They were working the ball around, and everybody saw it. Like it was very obvious when they would make that extra pass or two and score. It was like, what did they just like? Wow, they actually just made the right pass, and like that looked pretty easy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, no coincidence that Jaylen Brown has his first triple-double on a night where it felt like they were passing the ball.
Right.
This is the same guy that can go an entire game without an assist. You know what I mean? So it's just night and day the style of play that this team, decides to play with.
Right. So, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Just to start, Jaylen Brown set the tone. I thought, with the passing and what he had a season high by halftime. And then he of course got the career high in assists. Yeah, I mean he set the tone and it was contagious in that sense, but also. The Knicks, I really wish Fournier was there. Not to say that Fournier is, the guy that everyone thinks he is outside of playing the Celtics, but it would have been nice to see him in the mix, to see how they approach, how they would, defensively win about after what just happened, because Ime talked about it pregame, saying how, look, we didn't follow the game plan against Fournier. So it would have been interesting to see them how they do it, the second time around. But outside of that, though, yeah, solid win. You saw the approach for sure offensively. Everyone was passing.
Yep. And things were still a little chunky in the first half. Like there wasn't, they were working the ball around. Shots weren't really falling. It was one of those really cold 3-point shooting sort of games for them again. And then the second half they came in and the Knicks clearly powered off too, so that helped. But you had that one play where the ball whipped around the perimeter and went from Horford to Jaylen for that easy bucket in the paint. That was literally the best possession of the season. No joke. Inside, outside, inside, worked it all around and not just like, there's a thing where you work it around for for good threes, which they've done before and not hit them. And it's frustrating because you're like, email do the press conference after, like, we passed, we just suck at shooting. So like, you need some easy buckets, right? And like seeing them work the ball into somebody in the paint and then hit a layup, and I was like, oh, like, look at that. Oh my God.
This is how Ime sees it in his head. Like, this
basketball. Look at them basketball.
I was like, rewind that right now.
Yeah.
Wait, did I just? No, it was good. It was also good, and defensively they were great. I mean, I thought Marcus Smart had one of his best games, I thought, of the season defensively. He's all over the place, stealing the ball. Just doing Marcus Smart type things that makes every green teamer, jump for joy, for lack of a better word.
Hey, not every green teamer. I don't know, Jimmy. I don't even think it's split anymore with the Marcus Smart thing. We could talk about it a little bit later, but
sure. But I mean, like the people who love Marcus Smart, this was the game that they can point to and say, like, this is what he does, this is why he's valuable, and they'd be right. Like, this is how he's valuable. And I thought,
but
talk about tone setting. He was one of the guys. I thought him and Rob. I thought their energy tonight. Jalen aside, because we already talked about him. I thought him and Rob were great. It looked like they one of those games where they're like, oh yeah, Rob's on our team. Let's get that guy the ball, and let's get him involved, and let's just throw it up to Rob because maybe something good will happen. And like they did that, and again, those were like easy points. And it feels like when you're watching this team, scoring, they make scoring so difficult. Even like when Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are scoring, it's like difficult the way they do it. It feels like a work.
Yes.
So when they make the extra passes or when they look for Rob or whatever, when they get those guys involved, that's how they maintain leads or grow leads, and they don't watch them dwindle by trying to force things or take it over themselves. So that was the difference tonight. That was one of the biggest differences between tonight and the last game against the Knicks. What's up?
No, I was gonna say that, and getting that lift from Josh Richardson off the bench, I thought was good.
That was the biggest Ime change,
in the
I
first
thought.
half, especially.
Yeah, Ime and John, I don't know if John said it on air or off air, but Ime didn't make that many adjustments tonight that everyone was clamoring.
You're right. That was the only one he did.
That was the big one. I thought it was,
he played almost 30.
Yeah, Marcus Smart hit the bench at like the 5-minute mark of the first and didn't come back in until like the 5-minute mark of like the second, I think.
Yeah.
And like Richardson played a lot of those. Yeah, Richardson played a lot of those minutes. Nesmith got 2 minutes, I think, or whatever it was, and 3 minutes, and like that's not really an example of change. I mean, that's pointless.
Not just that, you had
literally and figuratively pointless.
Yeah. You had Ennis minutes in the first in the first quarter, and like I mean, so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. We were passing, we went hard at Ime for the first time. I know there's a lot of Ime chatter.
For the first time we did, yeah.
But for the first time, we're like, dude, come on, like you're really not helping yourself.
You guys
are brutal. But
we were honest. We were honest.
I do look. I thought, and that's the thing is like everyone's gonna say like, oh, you're haters and this and that. Like, no. We gave Ime the benefit of the doubt to the sense of I always think the players have to play. And if they do, the coach matters little. But when your team is struggling, the coach has to do something, and he wasn't doing it. And he kept doing the same stuff over and over. And those lineups last game, I think everybody involved with Celtics coverage and Celtics media and Celtics Twitter lost their collective minds simultaneously because you could feel a little bit of knives out, for Ime after last game. Like, what are you guys?
That's what I thought as soon as he said that too.
What are you guys doing? Play. Like, why are these guys in at the same time? But then he comes out today and he kind of doubles down and he starts double big. And offensively things are still a little bit slow. Again, you just don't have that spacing out there. I know he loves the defense. He sticks with a really short rotation. Gets Ennis in there too. Doesn't play Romeo at all until the very end, gives Nesmith 3 minutes, and we're like, okay, so like you didn't get it. It's hard to complain after a game like this. I still think we're running in place a little bit here. I do think it's short-sighted to play that short rotation because I just don't think none of these guys matter to your future. So I don't know what you're going to gain from it other than finishing 44 wins instead of 42 wins. I'm not really sure the reasoning behind it, but he's still not trying the different combos really, said, mix up the starting lineup and try different things.
Like he's in panic mode right now.
He's really locked in. Like this is my best five. I'm starting them. These are the guys off the bench I trust, my veterans, and I'm staying with them.
This is as good as we're going to get. Honestly, that's what I think.
I need to hold it. And like that's what Brad was doing a lot last year, guys.
Right, but then you look at what happened a couple of days ago.
Popping out for a second. Right. Sorry, go.
we talked about it a couple days ago, right? Or I mentioned it. How Brad Stevens had that the morning interview with 98.5 The Sports Hub, and he's saying, look, before we hit the go to trading people away, let's mix and match some rotations, try some different things.
Right.
Let's do that first before we hit the panic button. And I think Ime did the complete opposite because he doesn't agree. I think he doesn't agree. I think he's seen enough. He's the sample size is enough for him to say, look, we need either new talent or we're going to work on the best of the best. These are my guys. If the playoffs started today, this is what you would see.
Yeah.
And
I also think
that's really what happened a couple nights ago.
I also think the crew that he stuck with tonight is the same crew that did have a 25-point lead the last game. So it's not like they got blown out last game and Ime went right back to the well. I mean, there is proven success when he trotted out there. So the difference tonight was they didn't blow that lead. So in that sense, why make a drastic change in the fourth quarter when they maintained everything? You know what I mean? So I kind of see him sticking with it because it never got to the point. I mean, the Knicks did jump up to a little bit of a lead in that first quarter. Celtics, to their credit, came back and, they were up 2 at halftime. So it never really got to the point where he needed to make a drastic change in game. I would like to think that he would have, but again, it's hard to go to players who sit all game in the fourth quarter. It's hard to go to them and be like, get in there and help us out here. Oh, we got Sherrod in the building.
Yes, Sherrod was trying to ping me. It was my bad. I didn't see him there.
Patiently waiting.
See Sherrod.
He's been there for a while when he texted me.
Oh, he actually hit me up too. Damn. Oh, he just texted me.
I was the last one he hit up. Let me hit up.
No, he just hit me up.
I went Pritchard. I went Neesmith. I went, Sam Hauser. I went Broderick Thomas. I went down the line with you.
So you normally beat these fools to the friggin' into the app. So when you didn't show, I was like, Sherrod's taking this one off. He deserved it. So I just kind of gave up. Yeah.
Don't ever text the boomer first. Go to the kids. We know how to. We hear our phones. We hear our phones. Anyone with parents knows it's like, oh, I didn't hear it. I didn't feel it vibrate. 3 hours later, you get a text back.
Can I? I'm gonna.
I hate Jimmy. I just hate Jimmy.
That's not right.
You don't mean that. That's okay,
guys. I'm gonna play this quote when I have it. But Jaylen Brown right now was being asked about the notion that he can't play with Tatum. I gotta hear it.
Wow.
But this is the quote. I disagree. Me and JT talk. We talked after the last game. We communicated with each other, so we're on the same page. I get where all the frustration comes from as long as we're on the same page. Is that a yes, we can play together, or a we talked for the first time ever last game?
I got to hear it too. It sounded like he's dispelling the notion, obviously. But
it's like just words.
Again, it's not the ringing endorsement that everyone's like waiting to hear.
You're waiting.
It almost sounds like they have some sort of agreement. Like we talked about it, and
Yes, I don't like you.
We're
you
crazy
don't like
about
me.
each other before, but now we're all right. We're all right. Yeah.
It's weird. It's like that interview they did together when everyone was like, "See," and the real question answer was like, "Are you guys friends?" And they were like,
"Yeah, I know him.
I know
we
him.
spend time in the same space, and we are cordial when we are in the same
each other
space.
messages.
His family looks after my kid every once in a while. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what?
And everyone's like, they love each other.
See that? They hang out with each other's families.
Right.
I'm shifting like crazy right now.
He babysits.
You are. You totally are, Jimmy.
I am, because I'm in like a.
You're no longer in the attic.
Recliner chair. Yeah, I'm in the basement. I went from the attic to the basement.
It's Saturday night, Jimmy.
Saturday night, Jimmy. He's ready
Saturday
to go.
night, Jim. I got my drink here. I'm actually delayed celebrating Christmas delayed this weekend because I had COVID during Christmas. Shout out COVID. And now this is my Christmas weekend, so the whole festivities going.
Jimmy is the only human on the planet who is giving COVID a shout out. Yeah. What the hell are you thinking, Jimmy?
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, Sherrod. Not actually. You don't want to be too close to COVID, though. You want to keep.
I was going to say, what the hell?
6 feet.
What are you drinking?
Yeah. I take that. Not literally close. Just.
Jimmy's a super spreader.
Jimmy's drinking liquid calm.
Don't mind me.
No,
I see. So Brown said,
Sherrod.
I disagree. I think we can play together. We have played together well for the majority of our careers. The last year or so hasn't gone as expected, but the adversity will help us grow and get better.
You know what I think? I think the thing that
Smith.
none of us are really talking enough about is that they played together and they've won together, but they won together at such an early portion of their basketball journey that they didn't. I think they're starting to slowly but surely realize that this winning stuff, shit is hard. Being able to do it over and over and over again to win at a high level is hard, particularly when you don't have the kind of talent that they were buffered with. Because your point, John, I mean, it's one thing to win, get to the conference finals when you've got guys like a younger Al Horford, or you've been aided throughout the season with a Gordon Hayward from time to time, and having a Kyrie Irving and all those type of guys. It's one thing when those guys are gone, and then you're looking at Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard, different, and obviously Josh Richardson and Schroeder. Those guys have been good, but they haven't been as impactful as some of the guys that they played with in the past. And it's an adjustment for them. And I think this was one of the few games where I felt that Jason and Jalen were actually, instead of going on these parallel tracks that we see them play, they were actually in the same lane, that they were actually on the same road. I mean, at the end of the third quarter, when Tatum, looked like it was going to be ISO Tatum moment, where he was just going to take a shot, and he kicks it out to Jalen, and he hit the three. The shot going in was important. The fact that they actually showed a semblance of emotion afterwards, where they high-fived each other before they went to the bench, we don't see that happen. We've seen Tatum make big shots. We've seen Jalen make big shots in the past, but there almost is never any type of connectivity between those two. Is that you, Jimmy?
Yeah,
with
Jimmy.
The damn,
Damn. Excuse yourself.
What? Oh, the breathing. Sorry for
sound
breathing.
effects.
Sherrod's spitting
That was
fire
a
right
breath.
now, and you just blowing into the mic for no reason.
That was just
I
a breath.
understand.
That one's
I understand
on me.
what
Sorry.
Jalen and Jason. I understand what Jalen and Jason feel like when they're dropping dimes and they got guys missing open shots.
I don't think Toscano and Sherrod can play well together.
What, dude? I'm just over here.
Hey, John, I disagree.
Yeah,
I think when we're on the floor together, we can be able to coexist.
Yeah, I know Sherrod. Yeah,
you guys need a good distributor.
There's some contrast between those two.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing. We'll bring in Bobby. Bobby's just.
We can't hear Sherrod breathing. It looks like he just got off a construction site.
Bobby just got.
Was that Mulder mediation going on over there?
All right, I'm navigating. Bobby, Bobby, you just got into the press conferences. Tell us about the Jalen, how that back and forth went there with Jalen. No. We need volume. You're smiling, and it looks like you're saying something good, but we can't hear you. No,
we still can't hear you.
There's no volume.
You got to plug the microphone in.
Yeah, come on back. Come on back. We'll have it again. We'll let Jimmy and Sherrod have at it again. Hearing something. This is going badly.
He's backstage too. This is going badly.
Technical difficulties.
This isn't working.
No, but I just don't think they really fully understood just how hard this thing is to win at a high level over and over and over again. And they're going through that for the first time. And then it's not like they got the greatest amount of weapons around them to kind of buffer that. So I'm not surprised. It was good. I mean, tonight it was really good to see Jalen actually make a concerted effort to find guys.
Yeah.
Right. That's why
I agree with that. You know what? How much of that do you guys think was the TNT effect? Chuck and Shaq. Chuck and Shaq and Kenny called those guys out.
They put them on blast.
Put them on blast.
They did.
They're not that talented. Those guys are basically as talented as the Knicks, which isn't a super talented team right now.
Chuck was saying this before the game too, so
that's
it was just
like
before the game, and then it was. Yeah, and then he was watching it, and he's like, exactly that, man. He's like, these guys, it's just my ball, your ball. They can't play together. They're not tough. Like, they're not focused. It's just they're basically, Jimmy, we were talking about it on text. When they're not playing together, it actually throws out the whole, argument of from Celtics fans of we've got these two super talented players. When they're not playing together, it's really like you only have one. Because one of them is useless. And so, when you play that alternating style, it's literally like just basically playing with one of them. And it doesn't help you at all. So those guys kind of put him on blast. I agree with Sherrod. Like, it's not all about like individually passing to one guy. It just doesn't feel like a guy is like, now it is my turn to try to score points, and now it is your turn to try to score points, where it does have that feeling sometimes. Tonight didn't feel like it. And it wasn't just passing to each other. It was that what we've always said is give the ball up, you'll get it back, work inside, work outside, swing it, wait for the defenses to rotate over, move without the ball, try, and then, see what happens. And then eventually they're going to want to look for the best shooters, like that's the point is other people on the floor are going to want to give you the ball back. It's not like you're going to lose it forever. You just have to kind of have faith in that it's going to come back to you. Those are the guys who are still going to get the most shots up. So let's try Bobby again. Bobby, you good?
Got me now?
Yes. Yeah, hold on.
Oh, there he is.
Josue, say what you were going to say, and then Bobby, I want to hear about Jalen.
No, I was just going to say, just to piggyback on your point there, like when you see this team continue to blow those big leads the way they have been doing the last 6 games, that's when you get someone like freaking Bob Cousy steps up, and I love that. I love that you have
I missed that earlier.
Goat.
What was that?
A GOAT saying like, look, this team, they have enough talent. They should be a lot better. And for him to come out and say that, I think also piled it on top of the, inside the NBA guys, but also he's one of your guys. Like he's one of your GOATs. So, I think that also, if you're Tatum and Jalen, you're like, hey, you see Bob Cousy is taking shots at us right now. Like, you have to come with a certain sense of pride. And I thought we saw that specifically with those two in particular, like Jalen and Tatum. It was just a different attitude, and they were in unison tonight for sure.
So Bobby, you were in Jalen.
Oh, show.
How did the conversation come about there with the him and Tatum playing well together? Because I've noticed at times those guys have answered that question without being asked it, which means it's on their brain. Was it specifically asked today?
Yeah, it was asked. Gary asked about the notion that they can't play with each other, talk around, shows like this and wherever else of blow it up, break them up. And Brown essentially just said, I think you guys got into it there. He disagrees. They talk. They're on the same page. They know each other. They acknowledge each other. That was a quote once, right? They acknowledge each other. I think Ime said that. Or no, that was Horford who said that.
I think that was, it was Al, yeah.
Yeah. So, pretty much.
So was it? Would you say it was a ringing endorsement, or he just kind of answered the question and was, on to the next question type thing?
It wasn't a ringing endorsement, and I don't know why it's.
It never is. It's so hard.
I don't know why it's so hard, and it's so hard for this team. This is what I'm going to write about tonight. Like the things they did in this game to make it easier on themselves just feels so easy to do.
It's so not hard. That's the strange thing, right?
Yeah, and. Like, I don't know why in the situations where they get stagnant, they can't do these things. Just throw it to Rob inside. Just let him touch the ball and make a decision there. That nice bullet pass out to Grant in the left corner that he got over to Smart on the right side for a driving layup. It didn't work, but it's just pretty action throughout this one that isn't hard. Like the screen and flare out on the big three that everyone was going crazy about, the Tatum pass to Brown. It's hard to comprehend why this team just makes the game so difficult, because it's really not. The things they need to do are just so simple.
They're simple,
so, right?
but
yeah, we said that actually off the top, I think.
But it's complicated when you have guys with their level of individual talent, and that ability gives them a sense of power that I gotta score because the guy that's guarding me, he can't guard me. I remember, after Jalen, dropped 50, he was.
I saw a play like that, Sherrod.
Yeah,
there was a play where Tatum got switched on to, I think it was Gibson, and you just see like he's got that matchup. He wants to attack it so bad. And
it happens all the time.
He's trying to get the step back, and it's not there. And then he's like trying to dribble into him, and it's out to the left, and it's back to him.
But this was one of the few games.
Yeah, there's always a guy waiting. Like Tatum,
right?
There's always like somebody waiting on Tatum, kind of over the top there to double when he starts to move. He never has. They're daring him to. Shoot into dribble into a double team or be a passer. The entire first half, every touch that he had, as soon as he started to move, he would draw a second defender every single time. They're blitzing him, and they're going to keep doing it. So it forces the issue. And the only way around it is to make a much quicker decision. If you wait, you're deliberate, you do your setup, you start to dribble, you get kind of trapped, and then you kick it out, you're eating too much time. It's hard to get into a flow of an offense because you've held onto the ball for 8-10 seconds at that point. He's just got to make quick decisions.
And he did I thought Jalen did a great job of that today because, again, when he would recognize that mismatch, instead of forcing the action, he forced the ball to someone who was open. And that's the thing about it. Guys were on the move way more than they normally are. That's where you got guys like Robert right around the rim for instead of just the lob that they love to throw, they can actually do a bounce pass where he can make a play, or they can get into him on the elbow and he can do some things. But there was so much action that they were doing today that we see them doing often, that the only difference was that they were making the extra pass as opposed to taking the contested shot or looking for that ISO matchup, which I didn't think they looked for that nearly as much as they normally do. They did some, but not to the extent that we've seen in past games.
This is kind of interesting.
Oh, wow. Did you see the Perkins?
Yeah.
I just sent you that. Yeah, so I was just sending that to you, Joe.
So Kendrick Perkins.
You sent it to John, but not me. Huh, okay.
What happened?
No, it's the group.
Perk tweets, Jaylen Brown completely took over this game with his first triple-double of his career. Played a perfect game while Tatum went 6 of 14 from the field. Okay? All right. I can see why that might be annoying.
6 of 14 is still pretty good. That's like 43%, 42.9.
One didn't have anything to do with the other, per se.
Some good math right there.
And Tatum writes back, normalizing uplifting one man without bringing another one down. JB played great. It's all right to leave it at that. Fair.
Ooh.
However, what I'll say is
Jaylen Brown retweeted that.
What I will say is
shout out to Tatum for the clapback. Well done, JT.
Absolutely fair. Also,
I want to see what Perk's going to say. They're still going right now.
Absolutely fair. Also, don't listen to Twitter and don't watch the NBA halftime live shows. Certainly don't watch this show. Don't do it. Get the noise shouldn't be bothering them with that stuff.
Here's the thing. I would agree with that, John, if only it was that easy. To me, whenever you've got noise out there and you're in a position that these guys are in, you need to figure out, how can I use this as motivation? I mean, we talk all the time about the guys from the past who would just make up stories about things that they supposedly heard that didn't actually happen, but they would use that as motivation. If you hear a guy saying that, uplifting one guy while putting you down, use that as motivation to go out there and drop 50 the next game. Use that as motivation to get your triple-double. Find ways to use that bullshit to just pump yourself up.
Find ways, if you're Marcus Smart, to go on the best stretch of your season last year.
Yes. Exactly.
But he did.
Exactly.
But look, if Tatum wants to use this for his fuel, then I like it. I don't mind it. But again, back it up.
Just don't let it be a distraction. To John's point, just don't let it be a distraction.
Right. We want this to be the new normal. So don't be puffing your chest out tonight and then revert back to your old habits in a couple of days. That's going to be key to see how they do, especially with this stretch. Like, this is they should be picking up some wins right about now. They should have.
Right. They really should.
But
how I feel about checking your phone.
No, I'm with you, Bobby.
Minutes of the game.
I'm with you, but again, look, if that's what it takes, because Tatum does bring up a good point. It's like, look, we beat the Knicks, blew them out. He got triple double, like pinning me against.
I can't believe he responded friggin' minutes after the game. Stay off Twitter.
Has he even gone to the podium yet?
He could have waited. That's true. I don't think he's gone to the podium yet.
It doesn't bother me that much, to be completely honest. I mean,
it doesn't bother me.
I think for the noise, Jimmy.
I think your mental health is better to not do it. Like,
sure, but we all do it. I mean,
this is coming off the Randall stuff too, right? Like Julius Randle,
that's just idiotic.
Playing in New York, like, and the Mets stuff in the offseason, like thumbs down to their fans. Like, if you're good, fans cheer. If you suck, they get on you. And even if you do fairly well, but not up to their lofty standards of you, they're going to get on you. The Stars
That's exactly what you said about Randall.
Oh, man, I cannot believe Randall.
The Stars get the most heat, guys. So, Jason Tatum.
But to your point, John, they obviously, this isn't like this didn't just happen, right? This is like he metaphorically threw his phone against the wall, being like, "Look, I've had it now. This is it. Like we just won. Jalen gets a triple double. Like I can't win with these guys." And obviously Perkins, it stings a little more because he watches every single game and he's he covers the team, not just from a national standpoint, but from local.
So let me.
Plus, honestly, I don't get. Here's why I don't get it. It's the thing. It can be both things. I think the criticism from Perk of Tatum, who is coming off a double-digit assist game and really was the savior last game, and the only guy who did everything.
Wasn't the problem last game.
He wasn't the problem at all. He did everything for them a game ago, and then it has like a mediocre game, which is fine. He didn't kill you. He wasn't lights out. It literally has nothing to do with it. So the criticism on its own is dog shit. It really is. It's a weak tweet by Perk to begin with. To me, I'm just like, stay off it.
Yeah, what he's trying to do there, though, is commendable for sure. Stepping up for Brown on social. We like that over the offseason, didn't we? When they were,
I don't really think he's stepping up for Brown, to be honest. But
you don't think so?
No, not really. The tweet was commending.
It was directed
Brown.
at him. The shot, the shot. Yeah, I think the looking out for Jalen, to me, that's just kind of the collateral.
I actually thought so. Jaylen Brown retweeted it, so that was kind of like Jaylen Brown coming to bat for Tatum.
Yes,
That's where like the teammate thing comes in. I mean, Tatum was just kind of like, listen, man, like
trying to set the record straight.
It's about Jaylen Brown tonight. Don't make it about me. If you think I'm struggling, like, don't include that. You don't have to include that. You don't have to.
And I didn't. So Tatum didn't have a bad game.
Yeah, he didn't have a bad game.
Right.
He just had
the game to say this. Yeah.
He just had a game that was just a game at the end of the day. Like, it's not going to go down.
As you said, Sherrod, he shot 43.9% on the dot.
Yeah,
42.9% from the field.
That's quick math. Yeah,
but you gotta get props. You got to get props to Tatum because he put some bass in his voice on that tweet, man.
You got to put some bass.
He
did, but you know what?
Put some bass in his voice. I like it.
I mean, I see where you guys are coming from too. Like, I don't really mind it that much, but I do think that Tatum should care more about just win games, man. And that's kind of been my thing more than anything. Is I think he gets too caught up in his own.
He does
his own performances night in, night out, whether it's good or bad. I don't really think the wins and losses, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but I think that's just how I feel. Like, I think he cares a little bit more about his own numbers than he does wins and losses right now. And I think that's part of the leadership issues that I have with this team right now, is that I don't know if they have good leadership.
Well, that's the whole thing, is like, it's the idea of we talk
like, that shouldn't bother him that much, that what Perk tweeted.
It shouldn't, because he's like, whatever, man.
It's
really
fine. Not that Perk didn't really say anything that mean. Like, it's more of just like a little annoying little
shade.
thing.
I mean, he threw shade his way. I mean, to say that
your
teammate had a great game.
And there's other stuff that's been said that goes into it.
Exactly.
Perk's job is to be like a talking head, and did Perk have to include that? No, but it wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't like anything over the top disrespectful.
It wasn't over the top disrespectful, but it was disrespectful. I mean, all he had to do was just give Jalen his props for a hell of a game.
Yeah, what's he gonna say?
Yeah, he did.
You're a clown, or you're whack. He's just gonna be. He's an analyst. Like, he
it wasn't it wasn't like, oh, Tatum's a liability out there, or he sucks, or trade Tatum. It wasn't anything like that. He just he noted what Tatum's performance looked like on paper tonight, and that was it. So
Perk's been on his ass a lot, though.
And I know. I think recently didn't Perk just say they need to break him up? I saw that. So yeah, I mean, this has more to do with what Perk probably has been saying than what that specific tweet was. Exactly, ESPN Perk in the morning after the Knicks loss. I think Perk said that. So
Jalen talked a little bit about the process too of them trying to learn how to play with each other, going through the adversity that they're going through right now. He thinks in the long term will help both them out, help them start to figure out that goal of being able to play off each other. I think they know that it's not the smoothest game between themselves right now. Like, you kind of seen over the last month and a half, like, their numbers of passes steadily inch upward. Even the games where it doesn't seem like they're passing each other a lot, the numbers are up off of what we were talking about earlier in the year. There's an awkwardness to it. Sometimes it seems uncomfortable when they're going back and forth, or when Brown's setting that very loose screen and jumping out to the right for the three there. But when it comes to them making progress in that area, learning how to play off each other, I do think you have to exercise a little bit of caution or patience there, because, listen, Brown had a great game here. Tatum didn't have the best game, but it all amounted to a good offensive effort where the ball is swinging and everything's going well there. I don't need 50 points each from them and them just throwing it to each other every time and them running a seamless pick and roll to be impressed by the way they play off each other.
That's how
it can be incremental.
That's how a democratic offense is going to work. When you're working the ball around, sometimes it's going to find other people more often than not. So, like, that's the thing is, like, in this particular game, there wasn't that need to feed Tatum, so to speak. And so it worked out. Like, and also you get a comfortable lead late. So Tatum doesn't have to cook in the fourth quarter where he starts to, like, take over games, which he's done a lot. So that point total could have shot up in a game that was tight because they would have obviously tried harder to work the ball into his hands there. So you look at the stat line, he looks like a bit of a passenger tonight because he didn't have any kind of high impact stats, but it really was. That's what you're supposed to do when you have like more of a team effort, and it's balanced.
And let's remember, him and Brown are doing little things that make you feel good about like their effort level here. Like, I think it's been a long time since effort has been the problem for them. They're on the boards. They're killing it in the rebounding department. The defense tonight was sensational. Maybe the best since like early December. They were just electric on that end. That was everybody. Rob, Brown was good there. Smart was just outstanding on that end. And that led to some easy offense. Those are the things they have to kind of start to do. It's not always going to be smooth or pretty. Like, I don't think anything this team does this year is going to like look great or be impressive, especially the numbers. But the process, I think, as we start to go into more of like a rebuilding, I don't want to say rebuilding, but development season here, like those little steps that everybody makes in their own game, even Rob, like just catching the ball and finishing in the post, I was wildly impressed by that. And listen, you don't look at Rob's offensive game at the end and say, oh, Rob had an outstanding game. But you look at things Brown did here. You look at the way Tatum set up the offense in certain regards. And you look at, certainly, I think the game Rob had on offense. And it's progress. Like, this team isn't going to make leaps and bounds going forward into the future, especially when it comes to Brown and Tatum playing off each other. You got to just kind of take, especially if this is the kind of season we're turning toward, the little steps and just keep making them go forward. Don't step backward in that regard. They had to get back on their feet tonight, right? This week was just a disgrace. And that's all I really expected out of them, and they did it.
Yo, Sherrod's on the construction site. Yo, Sherrod, you get the contract? You good?
We're good. We're good. No, they they were looking at dipping into those real crappy teams of Brad's first couple of years. If they would have lost this game, it would have been the first time since 2015 where they were 4 games below 500. And when you look at the talent of this team, there's no way in hell this is a 4 games below 500 team. It just shouldn't happen. So
what it should be like? What 2 games below?
They should be. No, this is a 500, slightly above 500 team.
They're expected wins.
I would agree. I would agree with you. I would agree with you. They're
maybe with a
put you in good shape in the Eastern Conference. So
guys, they've blown 5 games, I think, with a 19 point.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday.
19-point lead or more. If you flip that, their record, their record's totally different.
Sherrod, why? Upper tier. Yeah.
Sherrod, why do they respond to Kenny and Chuck and Shaq and Perk and not Ime?
Why not us?
Because all those guys that you named are Hall of Famers whose perspective, whose frankly their resume when it comes to the NBA is better than Ime. Even though Ime may be a better coach, but when Chuck speaks, you're probably going to listen. When Charles speaks, you're probably going to listen. When Kenny speaks, you're probably going to listen. Other than Chuck, all those other guys won championships. But Chuck is a Hall of Famer nonetheless. So that's part of it. But I think the other thing too, and I'll pass on to Bobby from here. You also have to factor in where these players are in terms of the NBA lineage. For example, guys, and like the fact that guys are much more in tune with the outside noise now than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. That rather than just letting it go in one ear and out the other, they actually allow that stuff to marinate. And that's why you will respond to a Chuck and a Kenny, and you will hear what Kendrick says, and you're going to reply to that. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, you'll see something in the Boston Globe or another newspaper that is not flattering, and you're just like, whatever, I'm just going to go out tomorrow and drop 50. Right. So this is part of that whole social media vacuum that we are in and players are in now.
Yeah. Plus, also, but real quick before Bobby goes, you have to remember too. They watch those guys. They grew up watching Kenny and Chuck. It's part of the basketball culture.
Not even, dude. So, they didn't even.
What do you mean they didn't?
They didn't watch a second of those guys growing up.
I'm talking about as analysts, obviously, man. I'm talking about NBA on TNT. Like,
I didn't know. I didn't know what you meant. Okay, no, you're right. Yeah, they definitely. We all watched. I mean,
that's why it holds so much weight.
Totally. Okay, then why is it such a problem when Perk says something?
Well, because he averaged 5 points and 6 rebounds on a championship team.
Well, no,
Perk,
I guess, but like
we love Perk, but Perk's not a Hall of Famer.
But you don't have to. You don't have to be good to know what good is and what bad is. You don't.
I just think it's
in theory, Jimmy.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what good is.
Like a coach.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. Here's the biggest difference. The biggest. Did you guys, Bobby? Did you want to? I'll let Bobby.
Here's why they respond to it. Yeah, I mean, Sherrod got there. It's not the credentials. It's because it's packaged in a 90-second video where it's just the only content of the clip is them being bashed there, and it's just like a tweet. It's just like what Perkins did. It's there. Your name's in it. You can search it. You pull open your phone after the game, and you just have access to all the bad things everybody's saying about
I know,
you.
but
so
Bobby,
it's
like us jumping into YouTube comments and losing our minds. Like that stuff's gonna happen. Like you're gonna jump on here, have opinions. People are gonna call you an idiot. You're a professional freaking athlete. Thousands of people are going to crap on you every time you do something they don't like. It's nonstop, and again, in the media world now, how many people have a voice and the opportunity to say stuff, whether or not they're, you can't win. You can't win this game. Like we're talking about going down a Kevin Durant rabbit hole, like that stuff is poison.
Oh yeah, there's
totally poison.
There's levels to it.
That's the other side of the spectrum,
Yeah, you could be responding to Joe with.
But do we believe these guys are mentally strong enough? Are these guys if these guys showed the mental toughness you need? Kevin Durant on the court shows plenty of friggin' mental toughness. So when you're saying stay off social media, you're honestly just saying it because it's like, dude, you're hurting your reputation. It's not affecting his play. Like these guys, these guys
in his feelings
are talking about. In the last game, you have players and coaches saying we're a little soft right now. We need to be mentally tougher. Part of being mentally tough is drowning out the BS,
Yes. So, and when it's about you as an individual and your performance rather than what the team's doing here, I think that's a big deal too. The fact that within 15 minutes of the game, you're responding to critiques of your own performance there rather than just talking. I didn't see a lot of talking out there tonight. Like there were parts of this game that really disappointed me.
How can anyone talk to Jason when he's on a bike?
Yes. Like the disconnect and timeouts and just the lack of communication on the floor. You don't really see them like huddle up and like try to figure things out through a rough moment there. There's just not great communication on this team. I actually asked Jason about that in New York, like things they can do in those.
Why are you riding a bike? Has anyone asked him that yet?
I asked that like we're not going to get anything on that.
Why won't you sit next to your teammates?
I think he's joking.
Sorry, it's been driving me nuts. It's been driving me nuts.
We're on bike watch. Now everyone knows we're on bike watch, John.
I'm sorry. I've been on bike watch. I have a
hierarchy there, John. You're going to have to log on in the Zoom for that
one. I've been on bike watch. I'm sorry. He just goes there and sits. Why would he go to the bike with 4 minutes left to stay warm for friggin' Twitter? To go tweet at Perk?
CLNS Media, John Zannis. Why do you?
What the hell are you doing on the bike, man?
Yeah,
like, people are selling.
Riding the bike.
Rest
at
your
the
legs.
end of a blowout, that's Geno time, man. Get on the bench with your starter buddies and yuck it up when friggin' Neesmith hits a parking lot 3 or something. Like, what are you doing on the bike at 3 minutes to go?
Well, this connects to the on-court stuff too, because what do we say? It's easy to shut the phone off. It's easy to throw the entry lob there in the rob and do that over and over again and run offense and do second-level drives there. But it's hard to actually execute it game in and game out. Tuning out the noise day in
I'm doing
day
a
out.
show from the bike. I got 2 bikes back here. I'm doing the rest of the show from the bike.
Last 5 minutes.
Listen, guys, I wasn't on the show a lot on Thursday.
That's so good.
DJs, dude, go ahead. Do it.
I was gonna.
I want to say one
there a
thing
bike
about
over there?
Yeah, go bye.
Might be
Yeah,
better
good to see
than
you, John.
might be better than the one they have here. I
Yeah,
don't even know if that one here
Okay.
turns. Maybe that's the issue.
This
We got
is
John Armstrong over
Look at
here.
her getting up there. There
look
you
at
go.
John. Yeah, he has. You can tell he hasn't been up on that bike in a while. This is
Look at that.
This
See how
is,
slow he was.
His back was like, "What are you
This
doing
is
right now?" Bro?
this is like the equivalent though, right? If we're we're on the bench, we're talking, we're talking
No,
about
we're not
the
talking, Jimmy. We're just sitting here. Just
we're talking about
breathing
the
air.
last show, or we're trying to talk about what can we do better than the next show, or what can we do, out of this timeout. And meanwhile, the guy that's on the show is on the side. Hey, hey, John. We were just giving an example of what it's like if you're on the bench with your teammates trying to talk about the last play or the next play, and then you get one guy over on the bike. You
Since
can't
we're
be a part of
talking about
the
it too, like,
conversation.
Could it be as simple as he just wanted to stay warm?
no,
Peloton.
he's not pedaling.
Could it be, I mean, could
Somebody
it literally be that simple?
He's not
Peloton.
pedaling, Sherrod. He's just sitting
Peloton
there.
John.
Yo, please make this a segment on YouTube.
Peloton. Peloton.
We are on Bike Watch.
Listen, we
We are on
went
Bike
through
Watch.
this months ago. He was pedaling, and I asked, and it was a staying warm thing. Now he just
Right.
sits there and doesn't pedal. So what is it now? I don't know.
Um,
And I'm not going to
It
use a
could-
question on this because it's going to sound so damn stupid. And I'm going to
no,
get the same
please
answer.
don't ask that question. Yeah, please don't.
Bobby's looking at the clip and sees like 2 bullets. And he's like, I'm not using one of his bullets.
I know, right? He just finally gets called. Finally.
Yeah.
He's got it at the bottom of his list of questions.
I want to go back to the TNT thing for a second. The big difference.
Chuck made a great point too, but go ahead.
Yeah, the big difference to me is that when those guys talk and, let's say they criticize the players, the biggest difference between what they're doing and what Ime is doing, Ime is trying to teach and get them to, buy into what he's preaching and get them to play a certain way. What they're doing is just trying to prove media people wrong. They're not listening or like taking notes or like getting coached or anything. They're just angry at what they hear and they want to prove you wrong. I don't like what Ime is doing. They're not trying to prove Ime wrong by, hey, what you're telling us is your way you want to play, but we're going to play our way. We're going to try to prove you wrong. Like, they're just not listening. So it's like, why are you listening to these guys, the talking heads, Perk and the TNT crew, who I love those guys, don't get me wrong, but if I'm a professional athlete, I would try to spend my energy and time and focus on the people trying to help me win, not the people that are trying to, criticize me for not
It's about
winning.
perspective. I mean, it comes back to perspective and understanding where those guys are coming from with their comments and what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things. Their job is to entertain, and so
exactly
that's what they're doing. And
that's our job too.
That's our job. We'll hop on a bike if we have to do it.
Exactly.
We're not afraid to stoop that low.
No, and they're not either. Believe me, they're not either. And as an athlete, you gotta understand that's what's happening. It's not personal. They're not taking digs at you because they don't like you. They think you suck. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're taking digs because they have stunk.
So I've kind of done a 180. Originally, I said it didn't bother me what Tatum wrote. It doesn't bother me that much, but it bothers me that it bothers him. I guess if that makes sense.
That's all.
I just don't want it to bother him.
Yeah, but I feel like at this point in his career, you should be surprised. Like they've reacted to stuff like this before.
And that's where we go back to. That's where we go back to maturity, leadership, having a guy that can sort of set the tone. Instead of like getting into these bickering Twitter matches and
Jimmy,
proving people wrong.
This is why I defended Ime so hard the last couple of days. He's right. Like, we've said the same stuff he said on Thursday over and over again. The mental toughness, the snowballing.
But the difference, Bobby, the difference is he has the ability and the access to change that. We don't. So for him to come out and say, "Oh, the team's mentally weak," my perspective on that is if he thinks that about his players, then do something about that. You're the coach. You're around them all the time. You're around them during the game, after the game, before the game. Well, clearly he hasn't, or he hasn't done enough.
He's 39 games into his tenure. I mean, these are big, big problems these guys have ingrained in their game. It's not going to happen overnight. He said that a million times. And you see him stressing it day in and day out. That's what he said pregame on Thursday. I have to remind these guys this stuff all the time, quarter to quarter, half to half, never mind day to day. The stuff that he's working on here, I think people don't realize is a pretty long-term thing. none of this stuff was going to get solved this year, and you hope by like the beginning of next year that some of this stuff starts to get ingrained. And when it comes to like a intangible thing, like the mental toughness and just being able to tune stuff out and all that, that's where I turn toward the fact that they're young. Yes, they've played a ton of basketball. They've been in a million playoff games, and even for 2 years now, they've been leaders on this team. But when it comes to these little things, that's when they're pretty inexperienced with handling this kind of stuff as the main central guys on the team. And Ime essentially is teaching them how to be professionals, how to be the guy on this team and be consistent in it. And it's been really hard for them. But at the same time, I think especially when you look at Tatum and Brown having a game like this, they're making progress. It's not fast, it's not dramatic, but a year ago, Brown couldn't have a game like this. Tatum, the things he's doing on the ball this year, he couldn't do that a year ago. So I have been so far from blaming Ime.
And here's the thing. Nobody's expecting these guys to have triple doubles on a nightly basis, Bobby. You want to see them buy into the only philosophy that will really work for this team is to find a way to lift up the less talented players around them and make them better, because they're not going to be able to do it on their own. And in fact, when they try to do it just on their own, at the exclusion of not only their lesser talented teammates, but of one another, they actually perform worse. Their isolation numbers are really bad. Teams know they're doing it. They become predictable, and their shot selection gets much worse. So you need to be able to mix in games. You're right. Mix in the 10 assist game from Tatum, or a game like this for Jalen, or have nights where Tatum I'll take this. Tatum only having to take 13 and 14 shots in the game is not a bad thing. It's actually worse when he's got to take 27 shots in a game, because that means nothing's going on and he's just decided, I'm just going to go. So yeah, you do want to see that over time. It's just consistency. Like, you can't get too into this game, because if the next game they come out there and they have a 12 assist game and, Tatum goes like 9 for 27, we're right back to square one with it. So you have to build on it. You have to do it more. The
problem is, John, and we've talked about this is going to take a long time. The stuff that
it has taken a long time. That's the thing.
It's going to continue to.
Yeah.
I don't think these guys will be fully fledged out prime players by the time Brown's contract ends, frankly.
But they're supposed to be. It's a long time, Bobby.
They haven't been through this role. I mean, like Brown was even saying post-game, like, this wasn't my role last year, the stuff I'm doing now. So, like, you got to start somewhere with it. You can't just throw your hands up and give up and say, all right, let's go get Satoransky and give up on these guys.
God, enough with Satoransky.
Did he just say Satoransky
He
again?
loves this dude. All right, hold on real quick. Before Bobby goes into one of his, rants of all of the guys that he wants to be Celtics, quick shout out to our sponsors, linkedin.com/garden. Post your first job for free. Let you guys know all about LinkedIn here. And then Jimmy's going to tell his joke about you don't even have to have a job.
I'm going to skip it. I'm going to skip it tonight.
These days, it can be hard to find the right hire the right candidates for your small business. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to find people you want to talk to faster. CLNS Media is a small company. We use LinkedIn all the time, and it's gotten us some of our best candidates. And like I said, any small business should be tapping into this for sure. If you're reluctant, again, we have this great promotional offer. Try it once, post one job for free. Go using the code here, linkedin.com/garden. Post your first job for free. Just takes minutes to do it. Reach over 770 million people in the world's largest professional network.
Million.
Focus on candidates with just the right skill set for you. The simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs filter and prioritize exactly who you'd like to interview. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus other leading competitors. Once again, linkedin.com/garden. Post your first job for free. And of course, Jimmy.
Yeah, calm.com. So calm.com is a lifesaver. We didn't need it. Luckily, we didn't need it tonight. Okay, I'll go out and say that. We didn't need it after the game, but we will need it tonight in some cases. If you're staying up late, going to bed, whatever it is. Calm.com/garden. Receive 40% off a Calm Premium subscription, the #1 sleep and meditation app. You don't have to just use it to fall asleep. You can use it to just sort of center yourself a little bit. It's the weekend. Who knows what's going on? It's craziness out there right now. You can just fire up calm.com/garden. 40% off. We don't know how long this deal is going to last, but it's going to last at least tonight. One of our listeners did subscribe to it last show. I'm sure his life has drastically changed for the better.
He actually tweeted to us that this is not a joke. He subscribed because of the show. Yep. He was so taken by what Jimmy had to say that he subscribed and then tweeted at us afterwards like, thank you. Honestly, that was the best night's sleep I've had. That wasn't BS. That was off to the side. So this is a small bit of compensation. Tweet the link at us. If you do subscribe, we'll all give you a follow.
Give you a follow.
It's not that big a deal, but it's something. And, that's what happened last night with our man. Was it Tom?
It was Tom. Yeah.
And did it and he actually like massive ringing endorsement. He said, honestly, it was awesome. So please.
And that was just night one. I mean, think he hasn't tapped into 99% of that app, and we don't know and they're always adding to it. It's not just an app that they designed 2 years ago and it's just the same. They're always coming up with new stories, music. It's actually we can't play the music because our show will get taken down, but they have their own original. They take popular songs and they kind of put a little twist on them that makes it sort of like a chill vibe. Get a little lo-fi, things like that going on. Maybe.
So that's it. Com.com/garden. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do, right?
That's all you got to do. You know who could use it? Maybe Jason Tatum could use it after the perk tweet. Get a little com.com.
He's calm. He's just triggered. He's a little triggered.
Right. Yeah. Well, this will help with that.
Any stray observations from this game, guys? Let me ask you this, Sherrod. I was hitting it a little bit earlier. I do think last show, we got on email a little bit. I do think a lot of Celtics media and a lot of Celtics coverage started to turn a little critical just on the stubbornness, like not helping himself out, doing things that clearly aren't working, but sticking to them for whatever reasons. The double bigs, the double point guards late in the game, which I know really, kind of, pissed off a lot of people. He was asked about it in the post game, but then he comes out tonight and kind of doubles down on it. Starts the same lineup. They start out really slow on offense again, even though they were clearly trying to pass the ball. Again, really stuck to his guys in the rotation, even forced Ennis in the game. Romeo, a no-show. Nesmith, 3 minutes and out.
He showed you everything. He even didn't combine Schroeder and Smart in that second half, right?
But he did not combine Schroeder and Smart, and he did not do as much double big for sure. You had Grant and Ennis minutes, and you obviously had the double big lineups to start the first and the third, but not tons, not as much of a reliance. There was not. Was there a Smart Schroeder combo at all? I mean, there had to have been a little bit, but there wasn't much, right?
There wasn't much of that, which I thought was for Ime that's progress.
Yeah.
That's reading the room, and the room says those guys should not be playing significant minutes together. And it doesn't mean that they're bad players by no means. It means that simply the combination of those two guys on the floor doesn't facilitate great basketball for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it's all about roles here. I think that's so clear at this point. Like, when Tatum is on the ball and Schroeder and Smart are like your passing sequence finishers, Schroeder's okay at the finishing those second-level passes there. Smart is such a mixed bag.
Bobby, your mic is either unplugged or it's not.
Put it up. Oh, no, I thought he wasn't. Now it's better.
All right, cool. Tatum, essentially, when he's on the ball in those spots, you do want better shooters next to him in those situations. I'm fine with Richardson. Grant certainly in the corners is awesome in that role, but it's essentially two guys, right? There's not a huge selection of players here for that position when we're talking about this, right? Listen, I love Richardson, and I love what he did here today. We should actually probably talk about him a little bit. I think he should play more.
Oh, we did before you came. Before you came in, I brought him up.
The conversation makes it seem like Ime has 6 elite shooters on the bench and he's just blowing them out. Half the time you have 8 players and most of your best guys are on the floor together. It's just about roles. You can't have Schroeder and Smart finishing passing sequences there. You got to do, I think we talked about this in the chat, John, the second level driving. Smart in the corner there. Yes, he's got a wide open 3, but can he go downhill again and find another guy from an even better position there? They got to shoot less threes. I hate to be that guy, and I'm not being that guy, but the numbers.
Okay, Nick.
The numbers just bear it out, right? Like they shouldn't be jacking even good catch and shoot opportunities because they're not good at it. It's not what their personnel is about.
It's not. It shouldn't be the first thing. That's the thing is you want an offense that swings the ball around the perimeter. And what they were clearly doing to start the game, there was a clear devotion
Al?
to
Al was
passing,
a little,
and they go 3 for 12 from 3, and it's kind of you're scratching your head again, which is they did what I told them to do. They passed the ball a lot. We got a lot of open looks. We missed all of them. We scored 44 points again.
Al, the 28% 3-point shooter. Good look in the corner. He doesn't
it shouldn't be. You should look to work it inside more, or go, and try to find ways to get easier baskets and easier looks. But again, it's that it's just the modern NBA offense. It just sucks when you can't hit them.
Yeah.
Did Tatum's mom go on Twitter?
I don't know if that's true or not.
I was trying to find out. No, it looked like
I can't find anyone.
Either that or then it got deleted.
I think she deleted it or something. I wish I knew what was said.
Yeah, I don't know if our fans are just.
I think she went at Perk. No, I think she went
making jokes or if that's real because I can't.
No, there's something on there and I've seen it screen grabbed, but I don't know. And now they're saying it was deleted, so I'm not gonna say it. It was a clap.
It was at Perk, right?
Clap back.
You have it though.
Yeah, I have something, but I don't know. It's a screen grab. It could be fake, but it was a shot.
It's probably not fake. It's probably real. But
just tell us.
If she deleted it, then she probably.
I don't know if it was deleted or not. It says it was been deleted, but it was about just basically clapping back at Perk too. So mom may be coming off the top rope as well.
I appreciate all the moms out there who have their kids back. So
yeah,
whatever she said, she's probably right. She's probably right. Whatever she said.
Wait till Deuce is like 9 or 10. He'll be taking shots too.
Oh yeah.
He'll be on Twitter.
You don't want to mess with him. He's already looking like he can text some people.
Bobby, what's going on, man?
No, it's the mic, bro. Put the mic
Just
up.
Can't hear you, dude.
No, it's coming unplugged. I think.
It's coming disconnected.
It's coming disconnected.
It's a loose wire.
Yeah. Josue's like, swallow the thing. No, I don't. It's a connection.
I'm like, damn it, Bobby.
I guess I don't know what Perk said, but on the NBC broadcast they did tell Perk that Tatum responded to his criticism and he did have a response. So
yeah,
I mean,
come on back.
It's on NBC. NBC tweeted it. They tweeted out the video.
We got to get Perk back.
I don't give something or other.
Time, John. It's like that time of year last year when we needed like that.
I still think it's the mic.
Microphone guy.
Can't hear you, Bobby.
We can kind of hear him. Bobby, just speak loud. I can still hear him.
When we did that intervention, I think we're coming up on that point where Perk came in and said, "It's the coach," but was it the coach? That's what everybody's talking about these last couple of days here.
Okay, we're whispering a little bit, Bobby. We got to fix that mic, I think. We're gonna.
No, he's basically saying that.
Yeah, he's a little faint, but yeah, I got it.
I think Bobby was saying that. Something about coach criticism, basically that.
I think John heard him, but he just hates the way he sounds. So.
No, I'm gonna blame. We just need to get him some more equipment. We might need a new XLR in the mix there, Bobby. We're having some cable issues.
You know what? I think we do actually.
Closing thoughts, guys. Before we wrap it up on this next game is what?
Monday? No, Tuesday.
Monday against the Pacers.
My team.
That came in perfectly.
Is that
not enough?
Is that home?
Red.
Yeah, I think that is home.
Yeah, it's home. That's home. Yeah, no, I just want to say, let's make this a habit, Celtics. Obviously, this is more of what we want to see, and against a team like the Pacers, I think it's a good test. I know Brogdon's still out, but I mean, I guess almost every team's gonna be a good test.
Everybody's out on the pace.
Yeah, it's just about the philosophy at this point, and you want to see them see it through. Especially guys like Tatum and Brown off of this. So let's see if they can keep that energy going. You're still at home, got a couple of days off to rest a bit. You can put the Twitter fingers down for a little bit. Zone in, maybe use the Calm app, and go into starting to make this a habit, make this the new normal for this team.
Yep,
that's great. That sounds really good, Josue. It really does.
I like that.
But
I'm just saying that.
Listen,
Yeah.
No, I'm being sure it does sound good, but I just don't think that's realistic. I think that the roller coaster that this team has been on all season long is going to continue. Now, does that mean that they're going to all of a sudden lose like 2, 3, 4 games in a row? No, but this was, I thought, as close to being the best version of them that we've seen all season long, where you've got the Jays playing in concert with each other, playing off of each other, as well as we've seen them do that all season. I'm hoping that that'll get stronger and be more consistent. But to me, at this point, it's about stacking wins. It does not matter. I don't give a damn whether Jaylen Brown has a triple-double or whether Jaylen Brown goes 0 for 17 but makes like 17 free throws and they win by 1. It doesn't matter. They have to get to the point where they're just stacking wins. How they come is irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I shouldn't even be about the. But at least you're not facing a top-notch team, at least.
Well, if they were, they would probably play up to that
Guys,
level.
You have to go to get to 45 wins on the year. They have to play like 12 games over 500 the rest of the way.
Right.
I'm separate from Sherrod. I don't care about the wins at this point. I just want to see them play the right way. I want to see them start to develop habits. I want to see guys develop, especially young guys here.
Oh man, Bobby, that last loss really got to you. I feel like you're serious about this lottery round, or no?
Why wouldn't you? The season's gone in terms of being able to accomplish anything from a winning perspective.
That was the same case last year, but Bobby, I got to cut you off. We can really, honestly, at this point, barely hear you. So we got to move on.
It started going down, literally.
It's getting even fainter. Jimmy,
and your take was so cold, so it doesn't really matter anyways.
Yeah, Jimmy, your thought. Bobby wants to tank. Bobby wants to tank.
Jimmy.
No, it was actually
Bobby, we can't hear you.
I'm actually with Bobby on that.
Yeah, Jimmy, go ahead.
Care about wins and
losses. If I'm Bobby, I'm pissed because the worst is he can hear us. And he can't say nothing.
Yeah, that's tough.
The worst part is Bobby for the first time in like 2 years is like blow it up, and we're like, and we can't even hear it. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Good tease for next episode. That's good.
My final thoughts. I loved what I saw tonight. I know that it was against a beat-up Knicks team, so in the grand scheme doesn't mean much, but it's just another sign that when they play team basketball, good things happen. So I'm going to take it for what it's good win for them. Blew out the Knicks. I mean, I'm happy that it happened. I think a loss tonight would have been like I said last show, like the loudest boos in the history of the Garden. So
yeah,
I'm glad that was never.
They were ready, I think. Yeah,
we were ready.
Saturday night too. Yeah.
And I will also say, kind of piggybacking off the whole TNT criticism followed by the per criticism. If that's what it takes for these guys to like band together, and it's kind of like, listen, nobody believes in us, everyone's against us. Let's prove them wrong. If that's like sort of like what's going to unlock these guys, then fine. If that's what it takes, to get kids these days going, then that's what it takes. It's not good coaching. It's good criticism or bad criticism.
Fair enough.
Jimmy's doing his old man Jimmy talking.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Back in my day.
Yeah, I mean, look, that happened a little bit last year, and we said, good, fine, and earlier
they only got
this
him
year,
so far, though, right?
But point guards got assists.
But what's funny is earlier this year, right?
Or this potential assist.
Earlier this year, Marcus was the one doing the calling out, and everybody was hurt. And like, you didn't need to say that. I don't think that was good. We're fine. I don't need anybody to tell me blah blah blah.
Too.
And then they played better for a stretch, and then they stopped playing better. So you're right. I mean, I think every 7 or 8 games, somebody who has played NBA basketball before has to publicly call these guys out, and put them on blast because maybe they do need constant motivation and reminder, when they do get soft. But the narrative around this team nationally, that's what it is, and they're not going to be able to shake it with one game. They're 2 singularly talented players, and they don't play well together or make their teammates better. This has been following them since it became their team last year, and we're now a year and a half into it, and it hasn't gone away just because of one game. So forget stacking wins.
It's one game.
Stack performances where you show buy-in and you actually it's the same thing with anything in life. Like, you're going to lose weight because you diet for a day. No, you got to change your lifestyle, like it's not going to happen because today I friggin', it didn't eat 15 cookies. Like you got to stick with it, man. So these guys, are they going to 3 game again? We saw it already. When Brown came back, we saw for like a minute a little bit of cohesion and working together, and then gone and worse than it ever was before immediately. So give me 5 games, give me 10 games, take it through the All-Star break, a new personality, a new attitude, and then we can talk. Until then, we're just riding this one win, one loss roller coaster we've been riding all year long. So, don't want to get too high or too low, but again, credit where it's due. It looked better, as Bobby said earlier, as Sherrod said earlier. It seems so freaking easy, to do it. It won't always result in a win, but doing it is relatively easy. It's straight. It's
just like riding a bike. Just
like riding a bike. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
that's a good way. As good a way to end it as we can. Last shout
John.
out. Yeah. Final shouts out to our sponsors, calm.com, sleep meditation app, calm.com/garden, 40% off premium subscription, and linkedin.com/garden. Post your first job for free. For Sherrod, Bobby, poor Bobby, we lost him. Out of focus, Josue.
This is what happens when you take too long to end the show, John. Damn it.
Out of focus, Josue and Bunker Jimmy.
30 seconds off. 30 seconds.
And Pajamas John. We're gonna wrap it up. We'll see you guys next time.
John.